The big trick is trying to fit everything in the car in a productive way. And this is where my Tetris skills come in handy. Oops, sorry. The Tetris skills. This is a good way to get a foil on a car if you've got a big wing. Look at that, fits like a glove. Okay, long day at work, and we are finally gonna get to go to the beach. But before we go to the beach, we get to go to somewhere even more exciting, maybe my favorite place in the world in some respects. Hey, guys, how you doing?
I grew up in Jupiter, Florida, one of the, I think, the best places in Florida. I actually got into kiteboarding because my closest friend, Greg Norman Jr., he went to Hawaii on a trip and brought back a kite. And at first, we didn't have a board. Greg had an old wakeboard and we were too scared to use that, so we would just take turns flying the kite and then jumping on a tube and just getting dragged downwind. And that was the first couple weeks of it for me. And then I saved up all summer giving sailing lessons to buy a kite. Came back to Jupiter, and sure enough, a kite shop opened up a couple miles down the street from me, Jupiter Kiteboarding. I went in there, met the owner, Jeremy Green at Jupiter Kiteboarding, and he was just really nice to me, really supportive. He helped me get me set up on my first package, which of course was a 14-year Cabrinha black tip.
I do miss all the boards on this wall. You remember that? That was... Now all the kiteboarding stuff is in the other room, and this has got more of the tourist kites and stuff, but I remember this wall actually had all the boards lined up, and this wall had all the kites lined up, and the Lab Rat, my first Cabrinha board, I remember it was right in the middle right section. It was high up because nobody wanted the really small one, so you had a ladder. I'd always get the ladder, pull it down, put it on the floor, put the foot straps on, adjust it. I think I looked at that board for 7-8 months before I bought it.
I got introduced to Cabrinha through Jeremy again. We went to an event together, and he introduced me to the Cabrinha team, and all the same people really that I work with today, those were the original people. They had different roles in the company, much more junior roles, but all those people were there at the event. They saw that I had a Cabrinha kite, so obviously right away we had something to connect about. And we stayed in touch, and we saw each other every couple months at events. Back then, there was events every 2 or 3 months. There was another new kiteboarding event, so there was a lot of excitement around it. And I just got to know them. We became friends, and over time, they decided to sponsor me for whatever reason, and our friendship grew out of that, and we've been working together in some way or another for over 20 years now.
Cool. All right, dude. Good to see you, Bryce. See ya. Hey, Jeremy. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
But the 6, you can't really work it.
There he is.
I actually met Damien at the very first event we had in Jupiter. He came over with the Cabrinha team. And I remember because I was friends with a lot of the guys on the Cabrinha team, they were telling me about this new hotshot guy who was supposed to win the whole event, and of course he did win the event. He was a real professional athlete, and he came from, he's one of the best skiers in the world before kiteboarding. So he brought that professionalism into a sport that was sort of a little bit more casual, and everyone really idolized Damien, including myself, for many, many years. We all wanted to go in events and compete against Damien. I spent the next, from 2003 when we had the first Jupiter Kite Invasion till 10, 12 years later, when I really had to, had a job, I moved on in life, but those 10, 12 years, I basically just followed Damien around the country and the world, competing, doing travel stories, and having a good time.
Come on, let's do it. Damien's gonna do a big backflip on the wing, and you're gonna do a big front roll on the twin tip. And I'm gonna watch you guys. So I'm gonna take a prototype Cabrinha surfboard that I have, and a 10-meter drifter. 10-meter drifter just because I can't really go wrong with a 10 drifter. I feel like I can ride that kite in 13 knots to 20 something, and it's kind of up and down right now, so that size will be perfect. And yeah, really excited about the new surfboard.
Come on!
the wind got a little light, so luckily I've got a hydrofoil and a dog leash and a good friend named Damien to give me a tow, so we'll do that instead of sitting around in the light wind waiting for it to come back in. Yeah, I mean, Damien's not just a friend, he's like a brother to me, and you know, we're lucky enough to live only, I think, 15, 20 minutes apart, and now we've got kids who are just a couple months apart, so it's, yeah, it's been great. I mean, you know, it's funny, the thing is you look back to and reflect upon, you know, as you get older, but you know, meeting Damien at Jupiter, becoming friends with him, traveling with him, I could name every trip I've ever been on with Damien. Those were all really, you know, life-defining moments for me, and really showed me, you know, who I wanted to be as a person and who I wanted to work with and how I wanted to, you know, handle myself.